Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Command Stack. I'm Ken, and with me today is a special guest. I have Ben, aka Downsizeit, joining me here on the channel. And Ben, today we are going to talk about the Ozark Mountain Open coming up in about a month, a little bit less, actually.
Yeah, a little bit less than a month.
So why don't you talk to us about the Ozark Mountain Open? I think this is the third time that you've had this event. Let's talk about what you're looking to do with the one coming up in like a couple of weeks. And let's talk about your successes in the last two.
Yeah, so the Ozark Mountain Open, I thought about doing it 3 years ago because just as part of trying to grow the Northwest Arkansas Armada community and just like the local area, maybe Oklahoma, Missouri, etc. Because the closest tournament at the time was Dallas for Lone Star Open, which is a 6-hour drive from here. So I wanted to have something in this area, that people don't have to go as far. And the first one we had, I think we had 8, maybe 9 people. For the first one, it was just a single day. We did 4 rounds. And it was just in this little office building that one of my friends works at. We were able to use the space. And then last year, we started actually having it officially sponsored by our local gaming store called Gear Gaming. So last year it was held at their location, and then their location again this year. So really grateful for their participation in that. And my goal this year is to start expanding it a little bit to a 2-day tournament, which is, most tournament formats, when you are traveling toward Armada tournament, it's usually not a 1-day. I know the store championships technically are 1 day, but I set this up, back in the spring. I wanted to expand this before the store kit requirements came out because I want this to eventually grow to maybe even be like a regional or something where it's a 2-day, people travel in, a good price support, you have a cut, play on Sunday, in a side tournament for people that make a cut. What you see at normal tournaments. Or bigger tournaments. That's what I want to eventually grow this to. So this is the first year experimenting with that format of the 2-day tournament. And fortunately, I was able to get, I emailed AMG once I got the store kit requirements and asked them, are you guys okay with me doing the 2-day and a cut, even though it's only a store kit? And they said they're fine with that. So I was glad to get their approval. So, because I didn't want to change the format, but I also didn't want to get rid of the World's Invite because I know that's a big pull for people. So we're kind of doing like a pseudo, it is a store kit, but we're doing it in a 2-day format like you might find at a regional, but it's not a regional. It's just, I'm trying to build to that format.
So you are looking to do 2-day then this third time that's coming up. How are you looking to do a 2-day format? You're going to do like your 16 plus and then go to a top 4 or 8 cut, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, so it's going to be 16 plus. I'm hoping we can get 20. If everyone that told me that they are come, we should get to 20. And then do a top 8 cut is my plan, is for top 8. And for those that don't make the cut, I'm going to do a kind of like a pseudo sector fleet teams battle just for fun. Make a 300-point fleet with the commander, and I'm going to randomly assign the teams. That way you can't have people like try to plan jank or whatever, and then just to see what it's like playing with someone else on a team, and just for that we are going to have a prize at the end for the winner of who does best in the team battle too. So maybe incentivize people to stay, and that's all included in the cost as well.
Well, that's pretty cool. One of the things that I know when you get to these larger tournaments, if you don't make the second or third day, you're kind of standing around like you're watching what's going on, and the other half of you's thinking, I really want to play a game or two.
I really want to play. It's like, why am I, especially when you're traveling? It's like, well,
right.
Now I've traveled all this way and I'm just doing nothing the next second day. So
that's never fun.
No.
So we're looking at this from the third time. We talked about how you've gone from like 8, 9, and then you're kind of growing, and now you think you've got a full 20 that's going to be in this next tournament series, or tournament, the 1-day store tournament.
Yeah.
You're hoping maybe next year or the following you can get to one of those regional levels. Now, go ahead, talk a little bit about your hopes on this.
Yeah, that, if depending on how successful this one is, I will say next year it's going to be 2-day again next year, for sure. and probably around the same time. I like the early November time, especially in Arkansas. It's really great weather in Arkansas early November. And I would love to be able to next year qualify for a regional kit. But that would require a bit more of an exponential increase in player base. But if we can get to the high teens or maybe 20, low 20s now, that might help give it even more exposure. And then maybe, I don't want to say prove, but like I can then, when I email AMG, I'm still growing this, if I can have a regional kit that might attract even more. Like there's people around here, we just need to have the incentive to bring them in.
So you started with this group of 8. You're looking in the Arkansas area because you don't want to drive the 6 hours down to Dallas, which I 100% get, because I don't want to drive 3 hours down to Indianapolis, necessarily. But how kind of big was the community when you first started this a couple of years ago, and how has that helped develop and grow what you have now? Because I'm just curious to see what the impact of having the Ozark Mountain Open tournaments actually done for your local community.
So, well, the community was almost non-existent when I started my channel 3 years ago, and it was only myself, Social General Rob, that I knew about, and my friend Buster, also known as Banshee.
Yeah.
But then when I started, I started figuring out, wait, other people in the area do play, because they reached out. Like after about 6 months or whatever, my channel, people were like, wait, you're from Arkansas? We're here too. So that kind of is like how we just found each other that way, because we didn't know we existed. So that was like the initial group. And then it started pulling some people in other areas. We have like a guy that comes in from Tulsa and comes in and plays. A couple guys from Springfield, Missouri that come in. So like just in this local area, the Northwest Arkansas corner, and like the bordering of Oklahoma and Missouri, just pulling people in. And I'm hoping to be able to start expanding that reach, be able to bring even more people in potentially. And as far as expanding locally, it was kind of funny. We found these people that played, and then a few of them moved away due to job. So it's like we had them for about a year, and then they had to move away. So now it's kind of like we're restarting in the Arkansas area, bringing more people in. And we had a couple guys from Russellville, which is about 2 hours from here, that come up and play. And actually one of them has moved here. So we're even in Arkansas trying to expand the reach of people, that play Armada. And it's really felt like a grassroots movement, because for the longest time I've loved Armada. I bought into it in 2017, but I've loved it since it came out, but I just had no one to play with. So now it's nice to actually have that being growing and getting more people interested relatively locally. Still a couple hour drive, but
Well, even the relativeness, hour or 2 is a lot better than 6.
Right.
And that's a really cool story on how you've got, a cat in front of me, how you've kind of been able to get that opportunity to really grow your community, expand it a little bit. So I'm really curious to see how things happen after your next 2-day tournament, and see how many new players kind of join in, especially with the release of the errata and updates.
Right.
To rapid reinforcements too. So what I think I want to do now is let's make sure, because the video version, if you're watching this, all the information is being flashed on the screen, and it's in the video description. But for the folks listening on the Command Stack podcast, could you go through some of the details for Ozark Mountain Open so that they can hear that? And if they're interested, check the description, and then you can get the links there as well.
Right. So November 4th and 5th are the actual playing days. So on November 4th, Saturday, we'll be doing 4 rounds. Registration will start at 9. Dice will be rolling at 10 for round 1. And this will be at Gear Gaming in Fayetteville, Arkansas. And, the Texas guys did this in Lone Star this year, and I kind of like this format better, doing 2 rounds lunch than 2 rounds, as opposed to 1 round lunch then 3 rounds. So I like that format much better. So we're going to do 2 lunch, then 2, then do a top 8 cut. And then Sunday we'll do 3 rounds for the top 8, and then do 2 rounds for the Sector Fleet teams battle for fun, for on Sunday. In addition to that, for those that are interested that might be coming in and staying, through the weekend, Friday night, I'm going to do a meetup just to hang out, just to get to know everybody, just hang out. Again, this is not my original idea is like the Texas guys do that for Lone Star. They'll do like a meetup the night before just to go have lunch or something. And we're going to go to a place called Dixon Street, which is, it's got a bunch of bars and restaurants down by the college, and, just walk around. It should be nice weather, and just hang out for a few hours before the actual tournament starts the next day.
All right, guys. Well, you heard it here first. Ben is going to be buying rounds of drinks on Friday. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, you say that. I do want to actually point out, because one thing that I've done both times, and this is something I want to make sure stays part of the Ozark Mountain Open, is that included in your cost, I will be providing lunch on Saturday. And I've done that in the previous 2 tournaments. Another thing that I've experienced when going to other tournaments is that, you pay all this money to play, and then, but you don't get any food. I mean, it's you're paying some $50, $60, $70 sometimes. It's like, you can't, put some of that together to get like, something. But anyway, I know you have to pay for venue space and all that stuff. Fortunately, I have, a good relationship with the owner of gear, and I've got a good relationship with Garrett. So I'm in a good space where I don't have to spend all the money on prizes and locations. So I want to use the leftovers to provide at least some sort of food for the players, because 4 rounds of Armada in one day is a lot.
Yes,
and I don't want people to have to worry about, running down the street to a restaurant because you only got 45 minutes between round 2 and 3. Just have the food there ready. People can just sit there and chill. And I just include that in the cost and that's going to be my plan, as I keep doing more Ozark Mountain Open every year. It's going to include lunch in the cost for at least one of the days.
I'll see, free lunch. You might actually get me to come down there, Ben. So,
hey, if I can get you and John to come down, that would be amazing.
you gotta change the dates just a little. Right there at the beginning of November is my wife's birthday, and as much fun as it would be for her to come and watch me play Armada, I might not do well with that. So,
right, yeah.
All right, folks. So you've heard it here. November 4th and 5th. So that's a Saturday, Sunday, 2-day store tournament. That, along with the possibility to play some Sector Fleet if you don't do so well on day 1. Prizes galore. You've got a Worlds invite on the line here. This is in Fayetteville, Arkansas. And Ben will definitely be the celebrity there to say hello to. So Ben, thank you so much for joining us, talking to us about Ozark Mountain. Love to hear about how this goes down the road.
Sounds good. Thanks, Ken, for having me on and helping promote this. I really appreciate it.
All right. Until next time, everyone, I'm Ken.
I'm Ben, aka Downsizeit, and take it easy.
And you've been listening to Command Stack. Coming. Really, you have to meow right now?
I'm surprised my cats aren't jumping up here right now.
Yeah, it's just mine. That'll make it into the blooper reel.